I do want to start by thanking the governor for her commitment to getting this contract settled and ensuring that the deal was a fair deal for the employees, but it also ensured that we maintained our financial stability, that we're not going to put a burden on our riders or the taxpayers. So it's a good deal, we're happy with it, and we're happy to run trains. So I also do want to thank the employees. We're getting employees coming back. They were coming back right away, so we're able to put the place back together and provide service. I want to thank the employees that were here during the event that kept the railroad safe and are enabling us to get this railroad back running as quickly as possible under extremely difficult circumstances. So I'm very proud of them. I'm proud of the employees. And I also want to thank the chairman, Jan Oliva, for his support and his leadership as well. So with that, I'll answer any questions you may have.
All right, we're gonna start with Long Island's own Alfonso Castillo. He's here in person. Alfonso from Newsday.
Hello, Rob. Congratulations. You, the governor, Jano, have all talked about how this settlement would not put the burden on riders. But from what's come out, it doesn't seem like it's that far apart from where the unions were before. So how does one version double the cost of fares and the other one is sort of cost neutral?
Well, I cannot go into the details of the contract, but you know, you negotiate, you go back and forth, and you provide different ideas to make it affordable and acceptable. You want the unions want to be able to ratify it with their membership, and as the union said last night, they wouldn't have accepted the deal if they couldn't get it ratified. And we wouldn't have accepted the deal if it would put a burden on the taxpayers and the ridership. So there's nuances to every contract. There's a financial package, so you work within those elements to make it work for everyone. So as I said earlier, I'm not going to go into the details of it because there's a process. The unions have to go into their membership and explain it to them. Let them explain it to their members first so we can get it ratified because everyone wants it ratified.
All right, let's go to Newton Jones Burkett III from Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
You're hiding back there.
Yeah, I was hoping Tim wouldn't see me because he gives my entire name every time he introduces me. I feel like I'm back in the third grade. Rob, please explain to us the status of restoring service, full rush hour service. Do you still stand by your prediction?
Absolutely. The team here is fantastic. Literally on the way home last night, I was getting updates that employees were already reporting that they want to come back and they want to get the service running. So equipment trains, employees reporting last night, getting things moving. You know, a lot of inspections that needed to take place, track inspections needed to take place. You've been standing here. I'm sure you've seen some trains rolling through here. It's a great sound to hear. But yes, we're in the process. We're very comfortable that beginning at noon, I believe the first train out of Penn Station is at 12:03 going to Ronkonkoma. And out of Grand Central Madison, I believe it's at 12:07 going to Massapequa. So, and we'll provide service to Atlantic Terminal as well. I believe that's around 12:30ish. Don't quote me on that. But, you know, we're ready to go. Everything is where it needs to be. And then come 4 p.m., that's the normal start of a rush hour. It'll be full rush hour service at 4 p.m. on all branches.
All right, let's go to Kevin Vesey, Long Island, News 12. There he is, right here in Jamaica. Kevin.
Thank you, Tim. Hey, Rob. So is there anything in particular that the MTA has learned from these 3 days of negotiations, the 3 days of the strike?
Yeah, try to get more sleep. But no, I mean, look, every life is a learning process, right? It's something that every situation is different. We negotiated in good faith. The unions had their stance, but we worked through it, and we were able to come up with a compromise that works for everyone. So I'm very happy about that. I think the alternate service, the bus service, worked out extremely well. In addition to that, we were able to accommodate everyone that showed up. Even today, as everyone thought there would be much greater numbers coming, we did see an uptick in the number of riders. I think it was about 3,056 today. But the great thing about that uptick is that they know going home tonight, they're going to get on a nice air-conditioned train that's going to be on time and reliable.
All right, let's go to Allie Bauman right there, CBS News, New York.
Hi there. So the union's doing a victory lap. They're getting the 4.5% raise in the fourth year. So how do you do that without raising fares?
Well, as I said, when we talked about the original number, there was a 5% number out there, right? And that because that would mean the other unions within the MTA would look for the same agreement. This is not that number, and as I said, I can't go into details about the agreement, but there are things in there that make it more affordable, make it more palatable for the unions to agree upon, and make it easier for us to fit within our financial structure.
All right, let's go to Andrew Siff from WNBC, New York.
Thank you very much. Rob, on the restoration of service, why did you not go to some kind of hourly service this morning? This deal was reached at 8 p.m. last night. Was that a consideration, once an hour out of Ronkonkoma, Babylon, something like that, to at least move some of the people?
Well, it was finalized a little bit later, right? There's announcements that come out, but there has to be a formal sit-down and an agreement of the contract. But you have to remember, people have to come to work. They're out on the picket line. They're at home. So it takes time for employees to come back. We have to get crew dispatches in here to call employees out because on a normal week, X amount of people would have been on vacation. So you have to come and figure out who's actually off, who's available to come back, what jobs do I have to fill. The equipment's not in the right location. We also need the employees to get to the right locations to provide some level of service. And inspections of equipment, federally mandated inspections, were required so we could actually use this rolling stock.
All right, let's go to Ryan Schwach. Ryan yields his time to Steve Netson of Gothamist. Steve.
Hey, Rob. I know you've sort of spoken about it already, but it seems like from what we're hearing as far as the final percentages and numbers, it's pretty similar to what was in the PEB. So what did the MTA gain by pushing this to a strike for, over 3 days?
Well, as I said, Steve, there's what you do, there's a number, and what you do is you make that number work within the elements of the contract. The recommendation of the PEB was specific as to one way. We found another way with the labor organization to make a number work. So again, there's a process. They have to ratify it, and more details will become available. You know what? I'm really happy that we were able to get it done, and we can provide train service.
All right, Samantha Liebman's here from New York 1 Charter Communications. Sam.
I'm just wondering, because we're hearing some of the details, how much do you save by not paying workers to do this computer-based training and not pay them on paper, but rather electronically? How much savings is there?
Well, Sam, I'll start by saying we're going to be able to provide Montauk service this upcoming weekend, so we're very happy about that. Look, again, there's factors within the contract that are, that were worked on to make it more affordable. There's things in there that help us, the carrier, and there's things that help the union as well. I respectfully leave it to the labor organization so they can explain it to their membership so we can get it ratified. Look, it's in all of our best interest to get this contract ratified so we can continue to provide train service.
All right, Sam's looking for the cannonball schedule. We'll get that for you. Here's Greg Mocker from Pix 11, everybody.
Hi, President Free. Just looking in this direction, since we'll get a better shot, a lot of riders may have heard fares are going to have to go up if there's a certain number. Can you directly address the agreement and the impact on an upcoming or the next discussion about fares and tolls?
I think the governor made it very clear last night that there would not be an agreement if it would have been a financial burden and it would have blown up our budget. That would have been put on the riders and the taxpayers. She has an affordability agenda that she truly believes in. She truly cares about New Yorkers, and she wanted to make sure that any contract, she wanted to make sure the employees were taken care of, but she also wanted to make sure we could do it in a way that maintained our financial stability, and we found a way to do that. So we're very proud of that, and we were able to provide train service.
All right, Haley Brown is here from the New York Post.
Why couldn't you guys just come to this agreement on Friday?
Well, it's called negotiations. There's give and takes, right? There was a PEB recommendation for 5%, and that was a position at one point. It's called negotiations. It's give and take. It's back and forth, and it's a painful experience sometimes. But it's worth it because, Haley, we can run trains.
So are you saying that the unions wouldn't accept 4.5% on Friday?
What we're saying, there was an initial offer. We had an initial offer. I think that was out there, right? We've spoken about that. And through negotiations, we were able to find a common ground to come to an agreement, a contract that they feel they can ratify, and something that we know wouldn't cause a financial burden to the taxpayers and the riders.
Here's Richard Giacovis from Fox 5. Richard.
Hi, Rob. Do you know if there's any plan to reimburse riders who may have a monthly pass that missed out on those 2 days A lot of them are complaining about those shuttle buses. They had to shell out money for that. Any plan for reimbursement?
Well, the shuttle bus is for free. Let's, just want to correct that. But yes, as we've communicated, we're going to prorate monthly ticket holders for the days they were on strike. That's upon our MTA board. We have a board that has to approve that. So upon their approval, we will reimburse the customers who have monthly passes for the days they were on strike.
All right, Jose, do you have a question? He does, in fact. Jose Martinez. No, he's just waving? All right, that's amazing. Anybody else? All right, Andrew, last question, and then we'll go to Alfonso for Long Island privilege, and then we're going to wrap this situation. Andrew, we're getting you a microphone right there.
Yeah, I have to credit Justin with this question. He notices on the board the 1141 to Montauk has track 8, and we see people with suitcases down there. So are you...
Sam, don't go anywhere.
Are we... is that actually the first train, or do you know if that's...
May I just say that is why Justin Lau does what Justin does, because he sees what others sometimes overlook. Rob.
So, as we said last night, this is a phased-in approach to normal service. So, as the crews come back and their ability to work and the equipment availability, we will try to provide more service. But we're committed to the hourly service on those 4 branches. So, we were able to provide this train service. So, as you may see that on more branches, additional trains popping up. Because, look, we're ready to go. We want to provide train service. The employees are coming back. They want to come back. I was amazed at how quickly last night they were coming back. So as the availability is there, we'll run more trains if we can, because that's what we do.
All right, so if they're watching at 30 Rock, we've got a whole lot of people watching. The headline is, Long Island Railroad exceeds expectations in comeback. Alfonso, you got the last question.
I do want to remind people as well, though, from what I understand, all the schedules are live on the Train Time app and our website. So if you need updated schedule information, please check those medias.
So Rob, in the last several months leading up to all this, a lot's been said by both sides. The MTA, certainly Jano, very critical of the unions and their leadership, and pointing out, what some of these workers are paid. The union's very critical of Jano and MTA management. Can you talk about what, if any, lingering hard feelings, resentment there is, and how you get past that?
Well, this is a business. It's not personal. At the end of the day, both sides wanted to make sure we operated train service, and they gave us our word last night that they were committed to getting right back to business and being able to run that service. So nothing's personal. It's negotiations. It was hard negotiations. We had ups and downs, but at the end of the day, this is what we want, and we're running trains.